Hello, I'm Rick Stivers with YoungMartin'sReels, and today, well, you know, I've been talking to you guys about trying to improve the quality of the video that we've been getting, and so far I'm not having a whole lot of success with it. The video quality that I'm recording on my i12 phone is just absolutely amazing, but I have been totally unable to get it to transfer from my phone onto my computer. And so, hey, I've already shot this video twice in i12, and this time we're going back to my old camcorder because I just cannot get it out there to get processed. So today we're going to be working on this Penn 109. It belongs to a friend of mine, Pete. I go to church with Pete. Pete inherited this reel from his dad back in 1973. And Pete doesn't do too much saltwater fishing. As a matter of fact, so far he has done virtually none. And what little bit he has done, the rods and reels have been supplied by the boats. So these reels have been sitting. He brought them to me since I was doing this fishing reel projects and decided, hey, this would be a good thing for Rick to do. So I'm going through them, getting them cleaned up, and whether or not Pete and I will ever get out a chance to get out there and go fishing with these, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, this reel has been taken apart and cleaned now twice. And we're going to do it one more time so that we can get it done for the video. And so here we go. One last time. The reel's perfectly functional. The clicker works. Turn the clicker off. Reel spins just fine. It's a beautiful reel. The thing about the 109 is that it does not, this lever does not put this into free spool. The only thing this lever does is activates and deactivates the anti-reverse. Okay, there's your anti-reverse, or your reverse, and now you have anti-reverse. Okay, so let me pull this out and see if we can get it lined back up now that I made such a mess of it. There we go, that'll do. And let's wind this back in. And yeah, this line's been on here a long time. And we're gonna take this thing apart, clean it up, and get it back together. So we're gonna start off by taking off the handle. And I will say, the first time I took that screw out, it did not come out easily. It took a little bit of effort. But now, since it's been taken apart and lubricated so many times, everything's coming apart really quickly and really easily. So here we go. These two screws down here are going to be shorter, and the reason that they're going to be shorter is because that they go through into this seat, and these, the longer ones, go into these posts. Going through the seat keeps them, by having them shorter, keeps the line from being able to catch on them. So the two shorter ones we're going to take out of that reel seat. Okay, there's those two. Set those over to the side. Now we've got three more to take out. I actually requested this reel these reels quite a while ago, at least a few months back, because I was looking for reels to do. And so Pete finally got a chance to get them over here to me yesterday, and so since he's got them here, we're going to take them apart and redo them. All right, let's go ahead and take this off. We're going to slide this out. That takes our spool out. That brings us down to this side case over here. Now you could go ahead and take out these other 5 screws and take this thing completely apart, but there's not a whole lot of need to. This reel's in really good shape, but if you needed to, you could. What you would normally do is just clean all this out real good. Clean it up, which has been done over and over again. And once you got that done, you would take a little bit of grease, put it on this pawl right here, and we're going to put a little bit of oil down inside the bushing. There we go. And set this over to the side. That part's done. Let's clean our spool up. This is our pinion gear right here, but in this case, this pinion gear never gets the opportunity to disconnect from the spool as it does on most other Penn reels, this one's going to stay activated all the time. It's going to be just like that. So let's go ahead, put a little bit of grease on the pinion gear. There we go. And it stays locked up on that side. We're going to come over to the other side, and yes, I've wiped this off, and I've done it several times now. And we're just going to take a little bit of grease and put it on the click ratchet here, and we'll put a little bit of oil on the post, put a little bit of oil on this post. We've got the oil in the bushing. All right, that is all done. While we're here, let's go ahead and clean up our worm gear. Let's take it apart. It's much easier to do this off of the reel than it is on the reel. And in a minute, I'll show you how we can put it all in and out quite easily. Okay, if this sticks in here, it's easy enough to grab hold of it with a pair of pliers and pull it out. All right, let's see if this one's a magnetic one. Nope, yep, it is. So also, another way to do it, which works really well, I love to do it this way, is to use a rare earth magnet. Just takes it right out. Okay. Inspect it, make sure that there's no corrosion. Make sure none of your teeth are bent. You got two little, it's got that little horseshoe shape. I don't know how well you can see that. Let's use it by the top of that. See if that causes it to be a little more clear or less clear. Not real sure. But you got that little horseshoe shape in there. Make sure it's clear. Once you've done that, cleaned it, go ahead and drop it in. Make sure that the U is following the curve of the worm gear. Then come back, add a drop of oil to that. Put your pawl cap back on. Screw it back in gently. Make sure that it's free flowing in here. Make sure it will go all the way from one end to the other and then back again. There we go. Okay, that's ready to go. We'll oil it once more after we put it back in. That brings us over to this side plate. We're going to pop the beauty ring off of the side plate. All right, this gear is for your level wind, and inspect it. Make sure the teeth are all in good shape, which in this case they are in excellent condition. Put a little oil on them, or a little grease, so that they can mesh easily. Set it over to the side. Now, if you look, you've got, this is your eccentric. Your eccentric moves in and out here. I got enough light on this. Let's see if I can improve it a little bit. Okay, this is your eccentric. See how it changes? Now, that's for your anti-reverse dog right there. See that dog moves in and out? Well, as it moves in and out, see it clicks, and then you can't reverse it back the other way. Once you flip it, now that lifts it up and off of this ratchet right here and allows it to flow. So let's go ahead. We got, this is all held in by 2 screws. All right, once that falls out, there's your 2 screws that we just took out. Now here's your spring. Don't lose your spring. If I hadn't already had this thing out several times, I'd be putting that on a pin. I like to use a safety pin to hold that spring so that it can't get away. Okay, we're going to slide this sleeve off. Then we have this tension washer right here. And let's take the gear off. And here's a hard washer here. And that leaves the gear sleeve on the bridge post. Now, let's go ahead and do it all. Let's go ahead and pop this pin out right here. Okay, it may take a little more force than that on yours. This one's been in and out several times now. Take it off. Make sure there's no grease, no dirt or grime down inside here. This one, there is none. It's been lubed, it's been greased, it's been cleaned. over and over. Let's put the sleeve back on it and put the pin back in before something happens to it. I mean, after all, this is a very old reel and we want to keep it nice. So we don't want to be losing parts of it. There we go. Make sure that it fits flush so that it's not sticking proud. Feels like it's just a hair still proud. It is. And now I went too far the other way. There we go. All right, there we go. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and take our drag washer, stack apart one last time. Okay, inspect your main gear. Make sure that there's no teeth messed up. Clean it good with a brush. This one has been cleaned over and over. And there's my brush. Okay, go through, clean the teeth good, and then inspect them all. Make sure that there's none that are chipped, cracked, broken. Once you've done that, go ahead and grease the gears. Now remember, you want to use a fishing reel grease. I don't really believe that it makes that much difference what fishing reel grease you use. They're reasonably inexpensive. They're not super inexpensive. If you're going to do a lot of reels though, it's much more economical to buy a 1 pound tub of the fishing reel grease than it is to buy the little skinny tubes. Okay, once that's done, wipe all this out. The only grease that's in here is just grease that I've just put back in here. Okay, now let's go through our drag washer stack. All right, I've laid these out in the order that they will be installed. Okay, and that's to finish that order. We'll put this one here and this one here. Can you see them all? Yes. All right, so the first, oops, sorry, got this backwards. So the first thing that goes on is your hard washer. Next goes your main gear. Next goes your drag washer. Now, these drag washers, I've already lubed them over and over, so I'm not going to do it again. But normally I wipe these off and rub them down with a drag washer grease, and that has already been done, so I'm not going to sit and do that over again. This one is in the wrong position. This one goes over here. The next one in order of operation is going to be your keyed sleeve, your keyed washer. Slide it on, and by keyed, I mean that it looks like this one. It's known as a key. It's kind of got an oblong shape to it. It's almost a rectangle, but it's curved on the ends. That one goes on first. Next goes another drag washer. Behind that drag washer goes the eared washer, which has got these two little ears, one on each side, and those have to go into these notches on the gear. If you don't get them into the notches, then they will get chewed off as your drag operates on your reel. Next comes your drag washer. Slide it down, and your final keyed washer goes on next, and finally your tension washer. Okay, with all those installed on there, that's ready. We're going to take a little bit of grease and put it on the gear sleeve, and the reason we're going to do that is to hold this collar on, so that when we turn this upside down, it doesn't fall off. All right, that's its whole reason for adding that extra little bit of grease. With that done, we've checked our eccentric. Let's go ahead and put a little oil on the eccentric, because these do wear out the bodies of these if you're not careful. Okay, make sure that it's well lubricated. Now, install your main gear assembly down inside there. Now rotate it around. Well, let's leave it in this position first. The next thing we're going to do is install the anti-reverse dog. It goes here, and notice There you go. It's going to fit like this, and see how it's up against the teeth? Well, as it rotates, those teeth rotate around. If it drops down, it'll catch on that, like so. Okay? Now, this is missing the spring. So we're going to adjust this around until we're just about to cover up the spring hole. I'll take the spring and we're going to set it there. Now, if you just set it there and look at it, you see it's too long. We'll take your thumb now and hold it against it, and take your other finger and push the back side of the spring into the hole. Now you see that it's all the way installed. Okay, we're going to bring this around now. Get these posts to line up. There we go, like that. Now, if this is all installed correctly, as you rotate this, there you go. You see your shift dog. Now, when you bring it down, now it no longer operates. Okay, let's put our 2 screws back in. One here, one here. These are your bridge screws. Let's put them back in. All right. Let's put a drop of oil down into the bushing. Now, this gear is lubricated. This gear is lubricated. We're going to stick it back in. Put a little bit on the back side of it right here. And by doing that, it will kind of glue it in place so that it's not going to fall out when you go to install. Make sure that the gears mesh down inside there. Like so. Now, everything should rotate together. Okay. Next step, take your frame assembly. Let's take our spool and set the ratchet clip portion of the spool down inside. With that installed, let's take our beauty ring and slip it back on to our side plate. Make sure your holes are aligned. It's easy to do that with a punch or a ice pick like I have. Alright, once you've done that, go ahead and line this back up and slide it in. Like so. Okay. There we go. Alright, now you're going to be tempted to just go ahead and start the screws all in, but you can't do that just yet. We need to put this plate in. This is our shield. Lift it, separate it back out a little bit, and get that shield into the holes that it sits in. Like so on that side, and then it's a little bit of a balancing act. Everybody's got to line up. Okay. There we go. Now everybody's in their holes. This just really wants to give me a fit now. It says if I'm going to go back together for the 3rd time, I'm going to give you problems doing it. Okay. There we go. Just enough to get it started. Up. And our pins came back out again. There we go. Back in. Let's use one of the short screws now and put it in the base. Give this thing a little bit of stability. There we go. Another one on the other side. Okay. Let's give this a little turn. Now notice when we turn it, that the spool isn't turning. That's because your drag adjuster hasn't been tightened down yet. So let's go ahead and put this on. Make sure you don't cross thread it. There we go. Okay, and there we go. Let's take the clicker off for now. Okay, so far everything's turning free and easy. Let's put the rest of these screws back in. Alright, make sure it turns freely. It does. Snug all the screws up at that point. Once you got all of them snugged up, spin it one more time to make sure you're free. There we go. Alright, now we're going to take out this adjuster on this side. Okay, set that over to the side, and we're going to come back and we're going to install this worm gear inside here. Line it up. Make sure that it lines up to the other side. Go ahead and start your adjuster back in. Make sure your line guide is in the slot up here at the top. Now, once you get this part of the way in, loosen it up a little bit, and then go ahead and spin. And that should start to engage. Because what we're trying to do is get this gear lined up inside there. Okay, there we go. Now it's screwing in. Don't force that. You're going to want it. You're going to be tightening it down, and you'll be tempted to tighten it too tight. Don't do that. Just tighten it up a little bit at a time, and then eventually you're going to get to the point where it's tight, and it's going to cause this to bind. Once you get to that point, loosen it up just a hair. There you go. Now you've got the right tension on it. It should hold the worm gear in place, and everything there should work fine. Okay, let's go ahead now, put the handle back on. Okay. Now I'm going to be acting like I'm putting a drop of oil there and a drop of oil there, but I've already done that twice, so I'm not going to do that again because I don't want oil to be dripping out of this reel. Okay, let's loosen up our drag adjuster a little bit there. That's felt a little snug. There we go. Okay, now I'll pull some of this line out until we find out where it's at. Okay, now okay, let's go ahead and run the line back up through it. Like so. Alright. Drop the line. Pull it out. Let's set our clicker so that we're not loose free spooling. And let's get it all wound back in. All right, there we have the Penn 109. It's a nice little reel. Drag works on it. Everything works. Clicker works. The anti-reverse works. And it's a right sweet reel. We are going to put it back in its case for Mr. Pete. And whether he gets to fish it or whether he wants to put it back in the cabinet, that's totally up to him. Thank you, Pete, for entrusting us with your family heirloom. It's taken care of, it's cleaned, it's lubricated, and ready to go. If you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button. If you dislike it, hey, go ahead, hit the dislike button. I'm okay with that. I have finally got my first troll that doesn't have anything more constructive to say than don't quit your day jobs. I'm okay with that. But at least, hey, at least it's a comment. I'm good. So if you'd like to see more videos like this, by all means, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And for now, this is Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.